We continue with Justin Trudeau's political death watch with the growing names and chorus saying that Trudeau needs to resign. And this time the call is coming from inside the House. Hello, I'm Adrienne Batra. With me is Brian Lilley. So, Brian, I'm not exaggerating when I say that there is a growing chorus of people, particularly on the Liberal side of the aisle, that are saying it's time for Justin to do what his dad did 40 years ago, take a walk in the snow and resign. And this time it comes from a Liberal stalwart, Percy Down, Jean Chrétien's former chief of staff, now Liberal senator. And he pulled no punches against Trudeau.
He said that the party needs to get back to the center, that it needs a new leader, and it's time for Trudeau to move on. It's funny watching Trudeau react to it. He was walking into the House of Commons for question period the other day, and somebody asked him, well, what do you think of Percy Down's comments? And he, sorry, who? What? Oh, Percy, I hope he's doing well. And then walked into the House of Commons. I'm sorry, he knows exactly who Percy Down is. And he would also know that there's very little chance that Senator Down did this without an implicit or explicit nod and wink from Jean Chrétien. As you say, it was Jean Chrétien's chief of staff. He's been a Liberal senator for a long time. I know Trudeau kicked him out of the Liberal caucus, but Senator Down is not a no one inside the Liberal Party. He may not be a household name, but he is someone that has a bit of weight. And so now it's not just anonymous Liberals griping about the state of their party and their position in the polls. It's someone with heft. By the way, you've also got Lawrence Martin, a columnist with the Globe and Mail, who has been quite friendly to the Trudeau Liberals. Not always friendly to others. He was a pain in the butt to Jean Chrétien, but he wrote a column in the Globe and Mail saying, why doesn't Trudeau realize it's time to go? You've got Catherine McKenna, his former environment minister, criticizing his carbon tax fiasco. You've got Mark Carney, the future Liberal leader, perhaps, criticizing him. There is a growing chorus, as you say, that are calling out Trudeau, something that we're not used to seeing.
Politically speaking, though, isn't it advantageous, though, for the Conservatives to go up against a very weakened and beleaguered Justin Trudeau, who has way past his best before a date, worn out his welcome with most Canadians? But the tricky part, of course, is he's a really good campaigner.
Yeah, he is a good campaigner, and you should never count him out. Anybody that counts out a significant opponent like the federal Liberals is fooling themselves. That's a really dumb thing to do. And Justin Trudeau, I think he's horrible at governing, but he's very good at campaigning. He is a fighter, and he wants a scrap. I think that's why he stuck around. I thought he was getting bored with his job. And then Pierre Poilievre was elected leader, and suddenly he had a spring in his step. That smirk was back. He's ready for a scrap. If the scrap was held today, I think he'd be beaten up pretty badly by Pierre Poilievre. But, it's funny. There was an Angus Reid poll a little while ago, and I think it said 57% across the country and a quarter of past Liberal voters wanted Trudeau to resign. But when you looked at the numbers, it was over 80% of Conservative voters wanted Trudeau to go. And I thought, well, if he's that unpopular, don't you want him to stay? So there's a bit of back and forth. I know there have been conversations. I don't know how high they go, but there have been conversations among serious Liberals of, is it better to keep him around and lose with him, or replace him and lose with a new leader who will then be beaten up after not really having a chance?
Well, it's kind of like what's old is new again, because a lot of people are throwing around Mark Carney's name. He himself, the former, governor of the Bank of Canada, he himself recently to some media didn't take himself out of the running to be the next Liberal leader if and when that happens. But it does harken back to the memories of Michael Ignatieff. Liberals thought that this intellectual academic and understood finances and was very profound in his statements was going to come and save the Liberal Party, but it was such a disaster. They could see that happen again. But even with all the pronouncements of money, even all of the spending, as Senator Down points out in his op-ed, this group of Liberals have never really taken the economy seriously, and their overspending has caused the inflation and cost of living to go up. So Carney has an advantage on the financial aspect, and I think has a better handle and understanding of that. But that said, Brian, even in the latest Leger polling, it doesn't matter how much the Liberals seem to be spending; it's not resonating.
No, it's not. The latest Leger poll has them 14 points back of the Conservatives, 40 to 26. I'll say this about Mark Carney. Covered him extensively when he was Bank of Canada governor, and especially during the 2008-2009 financial crisis. He was man of the hour. And so, spent a lot of time talking to him, questioning him. He's a very smart man. He's a better communicator than Michael Ignatieff. That said, he speaks in $10 words when a 5-cent one will do. And that is tough to translate into politics. We haven't seen if he can do retail level politics. As I say, he's a smart guy and you want him in the room if you're making decisions. But there were times when I would put up my hand for a question and say, like, Governor, can you explain this like you're talking to your Aunt May and Whitney? Speak like a regular person. If he, were to run and go out there speaking the way he normally does, he would alienate voters. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you can dismiss him quite as much as Michael Ignatieff, but some of the same trappings are there. He spent his career at Goldman Sachs, then the Bank of Canada, and then the Bank of England, and now he's like a UN climate change special advisor. There's a lot there for the Conservatives to pick apart. Yes, impressive resume, but also one that would say elitist, out of touch, at a time when people feel like there's an affordability crisis. Well, there is an affordability crisis. Is this guy with the silver spoon the one who's going to understand and help you? Probably not.
Well, I think I've seen some of those conservative ads in the past. Maybe they just have to rehabilitate some of them. Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. Is it time for Justin Trudeau to go? Keep those comments clean. And I think some of the Truanons might even want to weigh in as well. And go to the TorontoSun.com and hit that subscribe button. You're going to find content there and coverage you will not find anywhere else.